Hello, and welcome back to the second video of Sega Saturn Month. This week, my friends, this week we are taking a look at the big fat stack of about 12 fighting games that I have for the Saturn, some of which everybody will know, others nobody will. So this did actually start as a Virtua Fighter video. I was going to do a video on the series Virtua Fighter, but I found it might be better to just kind of look into every fighting game on the system, largely because I ended up talking quite a bit about Fighters Mega Mix. But we'll get to Fighters Mega Mix. I'll just start with a couple that I have talked about in the last couple of videos. Golden Axe the Duel. Yeah, bought this last week. Last week. Finally arrived. Really solid 2D sprite-based fighting game. Kind of along the lines of Street Fighter 2, but probably more in common with what's it called? Samurai Showdown. Maybe side-scrolling 2D Soul Calibur. A lot of people have weapons in this, a lot of them, which is fine. That's not really the case for things like Street Fighter where you don't. It's okay. It's okay. I don't think this is really the optimum way to play Golden Axe. I know that Golden Axe is a series of side-scrolling beat-em-ups, and I'm really interested on the new one that Sega's doing. That's a big part of why I got this and why I bought Golden Axe 2. Don't own Golden Axe 1. Because of course I don't. Of course I don't. That would be too easy. That would make my collection complete. Of course it will. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm excited to see what the other games are in the series though. Also very similarly, I talked about Toshinden Ura. Or I want to say this is Battle Arena Toshinden in the West. I could be horribly wrong. But yeah, a very solid sort of Virtua Fighter clone. Picked it up in London several years ago now. Like 10, nearly 10 years ago. I picked this up for like 15 quid. It was there. It was there. And I went, you know what? That front bit looks cool. The front is largely in good English. It's not broken or lacking a lot of the syntax, lacking in the grammar department, which is nice. But yeah, you know, solid game. But I talked about that in my import video. If you want to know more about my thoughts on Battle Arena Toshinden, go watch that. Go watch that video. Give it more likes, more Sega Saturn views. Okay, yay. RoboPit. RoboPit. RoboPit is a not very good game. Largely because I can't get the disco out. Yeah. RoboPit is a very odd game. You can, I think, build your own fighter? I could be horribly wrong there. You can build your own robot. Which is great, including a guy who might look suspiciously like Pac-Man. There is a robot in here that's just basically yellow with eyes, and you can give him big robo hands that look like big old Pac-Man robot. There he is! Yeah, this game sucks. This game is really bad. It's kind of backwards facing, which is the weird bit about it, but you can also do, like, face-to-face. Oh, sorry, side-to-side combat. Very, very odd. I guess just, yeah. It's one of those quite experimental games from this era that I don't think worked as an experiment. It didn't work. It didn't work as an experiment. Not a huge fan of RoboPit. I wanted to be. I did. I'm always on the lookout for cheap Sega Saturn games that might just be good, that nobody's really looked at before or nobody really talks about. In a similar sense, there are better robot fighting games on the Saturn though, such as Virtual On. I am counting this. This is a fighting game, it's a rear view, and the best way to play it, quite frankly, is with the twin stick, according to some people. But I tend to just play it with the, well, just the mouse, just the just the controller, to be honest with you. I find that's better suited for this particular port. Very solid game. The fact that the manual did basically go, yeah, well, there's this thing in Japan you can buy that, you know, hang on, let me see if I can bring it up. Yeah, there's this thing in Japan that you can buy that, show it, that'll let you play the game like the arcade machine. You gonna bring it out over here? No. No. Buy it from Japan. Okay. And it'll come with the game in Japanese, except my copy, which didn't. Oh well. Not complaining. Yeah, very solid game. I've got a few Virtual-On games. This isn't the one I played first. That would be Ontario Program. I think it's Ontario Program. On Xbox 360. Because a lot of the games I have played on Saturn, I played first on 360. Including Fighting Vipers. Yeah. Fighting Vipers and Virtual-On, and to a lesser extent Virtua Fighter 2. I played all of those on Xbox 360 first. They're pretty solid fighting games. You know, like Golden Axe Siddle doesn't particularly have anybody who I would immediately go to as my favourite. Maybe Death Adder. As I understand it, he's the villain of the second game. Could be wrong. Death Adder's cool. He's a pretty fun time. He's a pretty fun character to blast around with. Though, for Virtual-On, it's the pink one. It's the pink one. It's the magical girl robot. Because she can summon a giant ice dragon. And that's just cool. And unfortunately, because Toshinden is largely in English, I couldn't say, but maybe Tracy? I think her name's Tracy. But yeah, Tracy. Tracy's probably my favourite fighter in that game. Virtual-On. Definitely the pink robot. Very solid game. But I think Ontario Program might edge it out slightly for me. Not so much the Dreamcast port. I don't much care for that one. But Saturn, definitely. As we were, Fighting Vipers. You know, Fighting Vipers is okay. I've played... There are others on the Saturn that I prefer. Quite frankly, I think this game is pretty forgettable. Most of its cast... I'll be honest with you, I can't remember its cast. I can't. I've played this game like several times. One player. Wow. I mean, even Virtua Fighter 1, a Dreamcast launch title, had fucking 2 players. This one doesn't, and it's the same people. They're the same people. I think it is. Yeah. Same people. AM2 made this, and they're like, oh yeah, no 2-player like, no 2-player in a fighting game. What the heck? Yeah, no, bye-bye. Not talking about you anymore. Load of nonsense. Let's do the Virtua Fighter stuff. So, I didn't have Virtua Fighter 1 when I got my Dreamcast initially. I had Virtua Fighter 2. And as a result, this game is better. But Virtua Fighter 1 has its own merits. I mean, I've played both this version and the 32X version recently. Yeah, that's currently sat over there with Cosmic Carnage, which is another fighting game on the Sega system that I think is not very good. Because it bloody isn't. But, yeah. He's the drunk guy. Oh no, he's in that one. Yeah, of course he is. Yeah. What's your name, fella? Can't read that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, Virtua Fighter 1. Very solid. Including the guy who looks suspiciously like that dude from... What was his name? Master Tao? From Dragon Ball. From Dragon Ball. Not Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball. Yeah, he got cyborged. But yeah, I tend to play as him. Guy with the mustache right at the end. Whose name escapes me, which is... Lao. That was it. Lao. Thank you, back in the box. Lao's fine. They did release Virtua Fighter Remix a couple years later. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know the difference. As far as I'm aware, it looks better. way better. It looked way better. Like, if you're going to get Virtua Fighter, just play this one. I think it added a new fighter as well. That could be horribly wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, they didn't. But, I don't even remember, last week, we talked about the CG Portrait Collection that I bought for 50 quid from Retro Games. But, you could probably see them here. There we go. That was all good. Here. This stack of games here. That's literally just a series of PowerPoints, and I had it in the back of Virtua Fighter Remix anyway, which, great. That was, 50 quid. 50 quid for that lot. Whilst Remix was like, what, 20? If that. I know, really annoying. And it came with the game. Didn't come with 10 PowerPoint collections. But as I said, when I first got my Saturn, probably the first game I put in the bloody thing that wasn't Sega Rally was Virtua Fighter 2. I'm really bad at Virtua Fighter. I'm very bad at Virtua Fighter. Very, very bad. But I'm very bad at most fighting games, apart from maybe Smash, even then. Tend to play as... Please tell me what your name is. Snuck? Wow, that's really bad screenshot quality. Thank you for that. His name's in the manual. I tend to play as the drunken old guy, because I am slowly becoming a drunken old guy, whose name is Shun. Oh, it was Shun. Anyway, yeah, I've been playing as Shun for about 12 years now, and I still can't do him properly. Yeah. Team battle mode. Very cool. 2 players, running at twice the speed of the original. If you're going to play Virtua Fighter on the Saturn, play this. It's basically one, it's basically a remix, and it runs better than both of them. It is a absolutely stellar game. Absolutely fantastic. It's just very, very, very good. Very good, very good. By contrast, Virtua Fighter Kids is equally as entertaining in all the wrong ways, though. So, the folks at AM2 were working on Virtua Fighter 3. That would eventually come out on the Dreamcast, never came out on the Saturn because the Saturn died. A horrible death. My poor boy. My poor big fat stack of games boy. But while they were doing so, they were working on facial animations for that game by testing it like this for Virtua Fighter Kids. And they went, you know what? Let's make a stupid game where you play as basically very chibi characters of Virtua Fighter for a laugh. Yeah, I picked this up in my hometown, actually. I picked this up in my hometown because I knew they had it. And I was heading down for Christmas. Did I get you over Christmas? I did. I got this 6 days before Christmas by trading in Banjo-Tooie. And then I'm going to get shot for saying that. But I traded in Banjo-Tooie. And I bought this and Virtua Fighter 5. Because I was like, I'm going to do a Virtua Fighter video. And I never will. But that's okay. Yeah, Virtua Fighter Kids is a lot of fun. I've been playing it a bit over the last couple of months. I stick with Shun. Occasionally go to Lao. But, yeah. You know, it's fun. It's a fun little wacky game. I like it a bit more in some respects than Virtua Fighter 1. 2 still tops it out for me. And it's, you know, at least it isn't fighting vipers. At least it has a multiplayer mode. And a fun one at that, actually. It's a fun, derpy, stupid little game that's just, yeah. And it runs faster than Virtua. So if you want to play the fastest Virtua Fighter on a Sega console that isn't 3, there you go. It's Virtua Fighter Kids. Of course it bloody is. I love Sega. They're ridiculous. Okay, here's a franchise I've never really gotten into, to be perfectly honest with you. Mortal Kombat. I'm not huge into Mortal Kombat. But I was in... Where was I? Town in my hometown. Long time ago. Oh no. Might have been Reading. Might have been London. I can't remember. Long time ago. But I picked this up. because they had about 4 copies of it. They have 4 copies of it in the CEX there, on the shelf, just kind of sat behind it. And I was like, you know what? I've never gotten into Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter's main rival. I know, it was Street Fighter, but I'm not a big Street Fighter guy. Mortal Kombat 3, though, yeah, really good. I know there's a Mortal Kombat trilogy, I think, on here. But that's very, very expensive. Like, hideously expensive. For games that, quite frankly, I can get anywhere else. And cheaper. But, yeah, this was like 30 quid. Which I didn't save the instructions to tell me if that was the case. Or the receipt to tell me if that was the case. Very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, big help. Yeah, it's fine. I go with your old classic, Sub-Zero, my boy. My boy. People say my boy, and it makes me sad. But yeah, not a bad game. Not a bad game. Tend to play Sub-Zero mostly, just kind of because he's the character I know the most, outside of Scorpion. But yeah, not my go-to fighting game on the Saturn. That still remains Mega Mix, which we'll get to shortly after. Well, Guardian Heroes. I'm a big fan of Guardian Heroes. Yeah, I mean, it is a beat-em-up, let's be perfectly honest. But it also says it's more than a beat-em-up, because it has a fighting game mode where you can play 6 players at the same time, with 45 characters. So every enemy you beat in this game, you unlock for its multiplayer. This is another one that I bought on the 360 first, and it's great. It is very, very, very good. I absolutely adore Guardian Heroes. It's a damn good game. It's probably one of my favourites on the Saturn, alongside... I'm going to go with Panzer Dragoon 1. Panzer Dragoon 1... probably Rally Championship and Magic Knight Rayearth. This is certainly up there. And Saturn Bomberman. I love that boy. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. But yeah, Guardian Heroes. Very solid beat-em-up game that isn't necessarily just a beat-em-up. It's also a fighting game, and it's a damn good one. It's a lot of fun. Having 6 players helps, and being able to play as the tiny on-fire guinea pig also helps as well. I love cheat characters. I also love joke characters. That's why I own, and my favourite game, fighting-wise, on the Saturn is Fighters Mega Mix. It just is. You've got characters from Virtua Fighter, Fighting Vipers, Sonic the Fighters. Yes, I know. Sonic the Fighters. Sonic the Fighters, Virtua Fighter Kids, Daytona, which is a car game. You play as a car. That is what sold me on this initially. But the character I play the most is it's a bear with I think a sombrero. He's got a sombrero on, and he's not animated at all. Only his face moves. But he's modeled like this, and he just hits. Like, he spins and he kicks, and he's terrible. Massive hitbox, completely unplayable. But you know what? I play this game for comedy. I don't play it to be good. And it's just insane. 32 playable fighters as well, which is absolutely nuts. Not obviously as large as Guardian Heroes, but that's not running a 3D engine. And exclusive to Saturn. This never came out on anything else. And you know what? It was a damn good pick. I got it from, I want to say, Southend-on-Sea. About, yeah, it was Southend-on-Sea. Maybe, when? 8 years ago? 9 years ago? Long time. Long time for Fighters Mega Mix. And it's been a staple of my Saturn ever since. So, that's it. That's it for another week. Wonderful. That is it for another week. We have looked at my big fat stack of Sega Saturn fighting games. All of them are pretty good in their own way. Some just aren't. I think Fighting Viper's complete and utter lack of local multiplayer is ridiculous. Especially when something as crap as RoboPit has it. Just, no. there's really no excuse for that. You can buy Fighting Vipers on other stuff anyway, and there's, I think, a sequel on the Dreamcast. I think Fighting Vipers 2 came out on the Dreamcast, and you know what? That's probably a better game. That's probably a better game than Fighting Vipers. But that's it. That's it for another week. Another week of Sega Saturn Month. Next week, as I said, probably going to be looking at Panzer Dragoon in general. I've got 1, 2, and 3. Oh, one's Saga. Jeez. Yeah, 1, Zwei, and Saga. I will be talking a bit about that, my time with them, when I got Panzer Dragoon Saga, and how much I paid for it, because it was basically nothing in comparison to today. It was very expensive. But even then it was quite expensive. But nowadays, no, that's just not happening. Oh, I wouldn't buy it nowadays. It's way too much. Yeah, you know what? I think I would. I think I'd buy it. Because it is my shelf candy. That is my shelf candy. But we're getting off topic. Anyway, let me know if there's any other things you'd like me to talk about with the Saturn. I've got a bunch of repro games. I'll probably do that as a bonus video, maybe this weekend. Just because. Well, I did that pickups video last weekend, so I might as well do another one this weekend. And it will probably just be talking about Sega Saturn repro games. Then after that, we'll see. Because the Saturn's an odd console for me in that this is probably the most fighting games I own on any system, because I don't buy them and I don't play them. But the Sega Saturn brings something out in me that makes me go, fighting games are really good on there, and they are. They're very good on there. They're better than the fucking PlayStation. And I said it. I know I did. But here we are. Anyway, that is me. Until maybe this weekend. If you're watching this, you have no idea what weekend that is. And that's, if you're watching this in the future, that is, you'll have no idea what weekend that is. And that's okay. Because time is an illusion. Buy gold. Bye. See you next week.